It is very important to know that today is International Day Against Nuclear Tests. And therefore we are here. The whole concept of Chai Pe Charcha was that we can all have a drink, have a brainstorming session, a discussion on a topic that is very less talked about, especially in India. Nuclear test. I mean, banning nuclear test. So to start with, let me share my presentation with you all. First of all, welcome to International Day Against Nuclear Test. And yes, we are kind of celebrating it. And our topic of discussion would be strategies for social awareness on objective of CTBT, that is Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization. Today is the International Day Against Nuclear Test. So let us all join hands to ensure a safer world for future generation. To begin with, let us first understand what CTBT is. So, Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, CTBT, is a legally binding global ban on nuclear explosive testing, and the final step in the vision was laid out 50 years ago by President John F. Kennedy. The CTBT was open for signature in 1996. The CTBT helps curb the spread of nuclear weapons and establishes a global monitoring network to detect and deter cheating. It was adopted by United Nations General Assembly on September 10, 1996. So, the CTBTO is an organization that is set to enter into force 180 days after the treaty has been ratified by 44 states listed in Annexure 2 of the treaty, which were designated to have a nuclear reactor or some advanced level of nuclear technology. So as of 2021, 41 of these states have signed and 36 have ratified. Currently, 185 signatories and 170 ratifiers are part of CTBTO. The states that need to take further action for treaty to enter into force are China, Egypt, India, Iran, Israel, North Korea, Pakistan, and United States. India and CTBT. This is really important for us. So India's future with the CTBT is still unwritten. Leadership until now may have been delayed, but then there are opportunities for it to be re-engaged and renewed. Even though it is yet to sign the CTBT, India has supported the treaty's basic principle of banning nuclear explosions by declaring a unilateral moratorium on nuclear testing. India's expressed support to the essential requirement of the treaty makes it a de facto member of the CTBT. Well, the next question is there really a need to create social awareness about CTBT? The answer to this question is yes. Nuclear weapons have been tested in all environments since 1945, in the atmosphere, underground, and underwater. The organization's report that has claimed that approximately 2.4 million people will eventually die of cancer, which is developed as a result of radioactivity generated by nuclear explosions. Radiation exposure can damage living cells, killing some and modifying others. Vegetation can also be contaminated when a fallout is directly deposited on the external surface of plants and then absorbed through roots. Furthermore, people can be exposed when they consume meat, milk, and other products generated by animals grazing on the contaminated vegetation. This way, the entire food chain in the environment gets contaminated with radioactivity. Now, what exactly is the role of Hofars in creating awareness? Having said, creating awareness and educating citizens about the effects of nuclear weapon testing and CTBTO is crucial to create an environment which enables accountability in people. What is the role of Hofars in creating awareness? Should we really create awareness, and why is it required? To answer all these questions, we first need to understand the goal of Hofars. Our company, Hofars Energy, follows the objective of sustainable development goals and believes in community participation in planning and focuses on committing to the best practices which promises continuous improvement to our goals. Also, under our flagship program called Hofars Internship Program, we have more than 200 youths as interns who are associated with us. If they all understand the importance of banning nuclear tests and the importance of spreading the objectives of CTBTO, we can together make this world a better place to live. Also, our proactive digital marketing team will help in raising awareness of CTBTO among general public and create awareness of specific goals that inculcate necessary awareness in citizens to be able to hold their government accountable to consider signing the treaty. Now, the next slide is about marketing strategies to create social awareness. Well, I, being a marketing strategist and legal and compliance officer at Hofars Energy, have prepared certain marketing strategies uh, which is open for discussion, and obviously we will amend and add to the existing strategy after this session. So to start with, first and foremost, we shall address the goal or the problem of the social awareness. Also, we will need to give a very attractive, catchy, or fancy name to this awareness program that is related to the objective of CTBTO. Next is objective. Objective would be short-term outcomes that CTBTO wishes to achieve. The third is target audience. Target groups are relevant groups or individuals that the CTBTO wishes to target with messages. Fourth is methods, tactics, or activities to raise awareness. We can have effective methods or tools to deliver the messages about CTBTO to the target groups. Lastly, monitoring and evaluation plan. This is really important for any strategy because this plan will assess whether progress is being made towards meeting the objectives and goals. If not, what adjustments need to be made to ensure success. Nearly half of the world's population, approximately 42%, is under the age of 25. Today's generation of children and youth is the largest in our history. Hence, creating awareness to them about CTBTO would be challenging. The children and youth of country are instrumental target groups to raise awareness of CTBTO and to pressurize the government to consider signing the treaty. So the next strategy is working in partnership and coalition with other organizations. Awareness raising campaigns tend to be more successful and have greater impact when they are conducted by a network or coalition of organizations. Always remember, the wider the network, the harder it is to ignore. In addition to strengthening the power and research reach of campaign, the partnership facilitates the exchange of expertise, knowledge, and strategy among the organization. Third is identifying target audience and tailor awareness raising initiative approach. Identifying target audience is utmost important to utilize the right resource in right direction. Hoffar's ability to identify the individuals or groups whose awareness of CTBTO is most important to achieve their specific goal in relation to CTBTO accountability will be marked as a crucial advantage in creating a strong awareness. Target groups including key decision makers, local authorities, parliamentary, the media, the vulnerable or marginalized group, or the general public. So please note that we can create awareness among our interns, who in turn will raise awareness about CTBTO among their peers, connections through social media with the help of posts, infographics, videos, etc. Lastly, creating key messages for your target audience. So we should have clear, concise, consistent, compelling, and simple key messages that are limited in number to help ensure that they are memorable to the target audience. Well, the last marketing strategy is considering the most effective method to raise awareness of CTBTO, which are producing educational resources such as reports, studies, infographics, etc. Holding or participating in events like thematic discussion, seminars, webinar. We can have free workshops or we can have conferences. Then we can utilize radio especially for poor and rural areas. Then producing audio, video materials and also prepare documentary film using the internet, then we including online forum, petition group, and we can circulate that on social media such as Facebook and Twitter. Then using wireless communication on mobile phones and texting messages, we can use WhatsApp group, Telegram, and then circulate the message. Then engaging the media, including through press releases, briefing, newspaper article, and opinion pieces. Then networking, online and offline. Both the networking would include creating and maintaining a network of contact to share and disseminate information to build awareness around the sustainable development goals. That is the objective of Hofars and UN. The arts, including art, satire, spoken word, music, street theater, and comedy, would be engaging and people would love it. So we will have better outreach. These are powerful vehicles to raise public awareness and consciousness. Before I conclude, I would like to state that the CEO of Hofars, Ankit Mishra, who is an established nuclear scientist, showed his keen interest in CTBTO, and he is now the country coordinator of the CTBTO Youth Group, that is CYG. I seriously believe, I strongly recommend let us all come together, create awareness, educate citizens of our nation about the effect of nuclear weapon testing. Thank you. We can have our discussion on marketing strategies now.
Coming to the marketing strategy for CTBTO, we should just go through the existing marketing plans, and we should have some. I mean, we should perform some marketing research, uh, and we need to set goals for this, like what to do and what to have.
Okay. So basically,
We should review and reassess all the things we need to have and marketing plans.
uh,
For that, we need SEO and an engaging website for this thing. And we need to do SEO for that website, and we need to have content marketing and pay per click as well as social media marketing.
yes.
Yeah, actually, I mean, that's a good strategy. What I was suggesting, Akriti, as you mentioned in your presentation as well, I mean, we need to reach out extensively in case we want to raise social awareness because, I mean, the target audience would be like everyone, right? Like general public is also a target audience. So what I had in mind is that we can, promote it through specific websites or, portals where the most population is presented, like Facebook, for an example, right? I mean, like that has an extensive reach, and people will be able to see through that. So we can just, shortlist some of the, most common social media platforms that people are using, and let's just focus on that.
So firstly, we have to work on the infographics. Secondly, I think we should work on the workshops or maybe the videos. Let us first reach out to people, yes, through Facebook or maybe through Instagram and YouTube, only when we are able to communicate. And this is possible only when we speak, because honestly people are not aware of this treaty, and even if they are aware, they are not ready to take any step for it. So before we reach to the step where we ask them to sign a petition maybe, or it is always better to have a workshop where probably kind of a science workshop where we can have students as part of our workshop, or maybe teachers. So to create better awareness. If we only say that the workshop is for CTBT, probably they will not come because they are not aware. So for that, let us first have a workshop on maybe science and technology, where let us first introduce what CTBT and CTBTO is. Then let us move to other science aspects that is related to nuclear technology. Probably we can ask Ankit to give a presentation there, and we can then have a next workshop on nuclear science and importance of nuclear science in career. Let us promote these workshops and create awareness first. Once we do that, meanwhile, while we are working on these presentations, let us work on the infographics, as I said. As Bharat, you mentioned about the SEO. SEO would be CTBTO's website, working onto their website. We do not really have access. We cannot work for their SEO, or we cannot be part of any other website where we can link CTBTO without their permission. So
Okay.
instead of
Can't we create backlinks for CTBTO?
we will do eventually. Anyway, we will
Yeah.
be making and we will be creating backlinks for them.
Mm.
Correct. So we will do that. But then our focus should be on digital marketing, especially social media, than SEO,
Yes.
because it won't be of any help for us.
Yeah. At
So
first, we should create the awareness.
yes, so we need to be the flag barriers of CTBTO, and we need to be the face. Let us be the face of that youth and have association with many colleges. So we can also ask our team to be associated to a few of the colleges, and then prepare a brochure, a very very good looking brochure on the importance of CTBTO, and attach that brochure through email marketing as well, and then give them a call and tell them about the workshop. Probably we can get connected with many universities and institutes. What do you guys suggest? And
We also need a catchy slogan and a name, right?
We need a perfect title for that.
so, as I mentioned in the slide in presentation, that we need to have less. We do not really, less in terms of content, something that is attractive and that will settle among general masses. Otherwise, if we have quite a lot of things at once, it will be difficult for them to grasp. So we need to have very good, kind of slogan. Probably they say Pepsi is Dil Mange More is so popular. Something related where people could relate and understand the importance. They could associate it with environment. They could associate it with their own well-being, or the effects of radiation and the cancer and everything. So again, we can also go to the medical community and ask them, why not? Why only institutes? They can also promote it.
We can do a hashtag thing with that also,
Yes,
right?
obviously. Yes. We should create a hashtag that is new and is created by Hoppers, because we will start with that hashtag and we never know. Probably people will start tagging. So it will be an achievement. So have a very nice, think of a very creative hashtag. That's a good idea, obviously. All right. So I think let us work on it and discuss it with team, and come up with a strategy. I will share the strategies that I have presented today, so that you guys can add or modify or make certain changes to it. Or and suppose, you know what, when I was making this presentation and I wrote about documentary films, I thought of this series called Chernobyl. I don't know if you guys have seen it. So
Yes, I've read about it. The nuclear reactor that failed, right, in Russia.
yes,
Yes,
correct.
I was going to ask Ankit about that, but I don't think that's gonna be a part of having
Not
nuclear explosions, right?
yes, it is not a part. It won't be part of CTBTO as such because it's
CTBTO, right?
a weapon. But again, it is a part of harmful effect, and probably I'm
Right.
going to correct or tell us if we are right. Um so I just thought that the series is popular and is trending. What if we create a video on it where and it's a tricky one. People are really going on Google to to ask what exactly happened in Chernobyl series of HBO, and that is how they are approaching it. And they want to understand what exactly happened, because obviously they're being from non science background or non technology, they are unable to understand. So what if Ankit or we as a marketing team, we make certain bullet points and we can help them understand. Probably this will trend because obviously it is trending, so why not? And slowly once they come to our YouTube channel, we will then ask produce other videos on CTBT as well.
Yes, because I mean, only recently they were like, it was all over Instagram that Chernobyl has, grown its vegetation again, and they're like, it's just wildlife is thriving over there. So it's like they're like the radiation has wavered off, and now it's like feasible to live over there. So that was like kind of a news that was going around on Instagram. I just went through it, and yeah, I think we can actually make up a strategy, and telling people about these kind of awareness that these things are happening and so much disaster is happening, and what are the repercussions of, because like for example, like Ankit sir told us about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? And people had to suffer, and they are the radiation had spread for like quite a decade, quite a few decades, right? And people are being born malnutrition or having defects in the bodies, things like that. So it's like raises concern among people.
Right.
So it can be put as an emotional quotient for them.
Obviously, and also we can uh, make post as in fact and myth, and write things which probably Ankit would be able to know, we won't. So just to create awareness about nuclear technology and then move to nuclear weapons. This could be one strategy to start with. So I think let's start with this, the Chernobyl thing, and simultaneously we will also think of the workshop and what science workshops we can have. I think that let's start with that and the post infographics, and then slowly move on to partnership and collation with other universities and maybe with doctors.
Yes, as we discussed, we should have the awareness where we should segment the audience, and we should select our channels and have the right content, and we should implement our strategies and monitor it. That is what I was thinking about.
Correct, correct. And this is very important to understand that in promoting this particular project, content will play a major role
Yeah, content is king everywhere.
here, especially because, as I said, people are not aware, and until and unless they read, be able to understand it. So let us start this project from tomorrow onwards. Share
Guys, is there anything that you wanted to ask me for any reason right now? Because I'm so sorry I was available, but I'm back now. So it's early morning here. That's the reason I couldn't.
I just wanted to clarify about the Chernobyl disaster. It was a nuclear reactor plant that failed, right? Uh, uh, I might be wrong over here, but is it like you need to have a continuous cooling technology in order to maintain the nuclear reactor? And probably that failed, right?
So what is required in a nuclear reactor is that once the nuclear material, that is the critical nuclear material, that's the uranium rods, right? They start producing heat by the process of nuclear fission. The heat has to be extracted out, and the way of doing that is through a flow of water. So light water or heavy water or any other material. So that material has to actually flow through that tube, and then it has to actually extract the heat out, and that heat is basically made to drive what is called as the turbine, and that's the process of creating electricity. Now, even when you shut down the nuclear reactor, the nuclear fuel rods, they do not stop producing heat just at once. It keeps on, so it takes some times to cool down, right? And it may take around 7 years for it to actually cool down to such a level there wherein you don't require any more water to cool them down, like so that's how it happens. So what essentially has to be done to a nuclear power plant once you shut down the reactor is that you have to basically flow some more water and keep flowing water, so that even the residual heat, this heat which comes up or which is formed after shutting down the nuclear reactor, is known as residual heat. And there's a mechanism, that is residual heat removal system, which has to be put into place, which actually removes the residual heat. So this actually has to be done. But as far as the Chernobyl accident is concerned, it's not that much related to removal of the heat. There was an experiment that was actually being conducted over there, which is, if the reactor shuts down somehow, if there is a power outage outside, and if the reactor has to be shut down, then for the generators to be started, so it required 1 minute time. So they wanted to experiment if the slowing down blades of the turbine can produce enough electricity to cool the reactor for that one particular minute. By the time the generators come to life, right? So did you understand? So what they were trying to essentially do is they were trying to see or experiment and check if the slowing down turbines, because they were actually running at full speed while they were producing electricity, but then the reactor had to be scrammed. Once the reactor is scrammed, the pressure to the steam pressure to the turbines, it will gradually fall, right? But it won't fall at once, it will gradually fall. So once it is gradually falling, will this movement of the turbine be able to produce enough electricity for 1 minute so that the reactor can cool itself? It's a good scientific experiment that could have been conducted, but then the conditions under which these experiments were conducted was not right. So there is a specific phenomena of what is called as xenon poisoning. So it's a poison to the neutron in a nuclear reactor. So that had to be taken into account, right? For it's a thumb rule for a nuclear or reactor operator, that if the reactor shuts down for whatever reason once, then you have to keep it in a shutdown state for at least 1.5 days or 2 days or so, right? So all those things had to be followed. Wherein in that case, in that very series that you guys have actually watched, you must have seen that it actually went down to like 0 power, and then they pulled off all the control rods in order to increase the reactor power. That is not how a nuclear reactor has to operate. So this is one part, that's human error. And then there is another thing, that is what is called as the machine error, or this was basically a beyond design basis accident. Why? Because people were not able to figure out by that time, or probably they had done it, but then they did not actually publish to the world, that the control rods, which are basically neutron absorbent materials, right? Neutron poisons. Control rods are nothing but neutron poisons again. So they were basically tipped with what is called as graphite, and this was a graphite moderated reactor. The graphite was a material which was responsible for slowing down the neutrons so that they can effectively take part in the reaction. And the job of a control rod is to ensure that there is no further reaction. But just think of a scenario wherein the tip of that control rod, which will come inside the nuclear reactor first, would ensure that there is more nuclear reaction. So that's what essentially happened over there. So this was human error. Along with that, it was also a machine failure, wherein the whole system that was designed wasn't designed to be inherently safe during the shutdown procedure. So both the things actually contributed to the accident. We can have a special session on the very same someday, like during some Friday night event or so. So I'll have to prepare the whole use case and also the presentation. So right now I don't have a presentation on the very same topic, but then we can actually do that. I will ensure that we do it next time we meet. The second thing is you guys were talking about this marketing strategy and all those things, which is a very interesting topic. And CTBTO, as I am the country coordinator of CTBTO CYG right now, I can tell you that we require it. As an organization, we do require, because our outreach specifically in the Indian subcontinent is not that much. People still feel that we did the right thing by exploding nuclear weapons, and then it's our birthright to have them. That's not correct. I mean, no one should have a nuclear weapon at all. So we need to actually reach out to the masses, to educational institutes, to few public sector enterprises, to social enterprises, to the non-government agencies and all. We have to basically penetrate our way to the very grassroots levels, or they're made aware about what CTBTO is and what their goals and I mean principles are for the very same thing. So there are lots and lots of opportunities for us in the very same sector. So that's the reason we are actually forming this team. We'll also talk to CTBTO officials, right, directly after doing some on-ground work, right? And then we will ensure that we can partner with them in the very same. This is a very good area to work in, guys. Just think of a scenario or a condition wherein this world is a weapons-free state, right? That's going to be one of the best place to actually live in, right? These material can also get in hands of non-state actors, and then it's going to be much more dangerous. So all those things needs to be avoided, and for that we need to actually completely destroy all the existing nuclear weapons. And also everyone should sworn in, like every country has to actually sign in onto the CTBT or ratify it through the parliament, so that they agree that they'll not be conducting any more nuclear test. It has to be a comprehensive nuclear test ban, right? So no sea blasting, no underground blasting, no space blasting, no simulation blasting. So nothing of that sort should happen. So we'll have a special session on the very same thing. Guys, there is one more thing wherein we can actually enter. That is, when we are talking about this CTBTO, they already have a network of waveform technologies, and then one particular technology wherein they are able to understand or detect whether a nuclear explosion has taken place or not. So this is like globally available. So every country has some station or the other. We can actually use the very same system for weather monitoring, for any other things, like for cyclone warning signals, and also so all those things have been going on. So this is one area wherein we can so if you try to advertise CTBTO as an organization which works for stopping further nuclear tests, that's one thing, people will be interested. But then if you say that there are other use cases as well, and if you try to concentrate on those use cases, so people would be interested as to how they're able to detect tsunamis because we have certain things in the seas, right? The NOAA system, and also we have CTBTO monitoring, hydroacoustic monitoring station. So even that acts as a warning sign for all these things. So similarly for the earthquakes as well. So since there are so many stations all across the globe, that we are able to basically pinpoint to where exactly this earthquake originated from. So all those things are because of the network which the CTBTO has basically put all across the globe. So there are other use cases as well. We have to focus and we have to ensure that this is basically brought to the public, right? So you just don't have to say that, okay, no testing, no blasting. No, don't do that. Start with what exactly are the other use cases wherein CTBTO is playing a good role. And then finally, once they try to believe us, once they try to understand us, then we can say that, okay, this is what we actually stand for, right? So that all those things can be done. So these are some strategies which has been, I mean, it's not new to CTBTO. People in CTBTO basically are working on that, but then we can actually take these tested strategies and try them on Indian subcontinent as well. Yes, Akriti and team, any other questions?
No question as such. We have discussed the strategies so far. To summarize, we thought of going for something that is trending. So to attract the target audience to our platform and make them aware about the city. So we thought of going with Chernobyl and then connect it with nuclear technology and harmful effects, and then we'll get them to city. Then we can also have workshops on CTBT or CTBT. And meanwhile, we will also have our infographics, which will have detailed content on what exactly is the treaty and importance of having it. So we will market all those things on social media. All right, let's conclude, team, and let's start implementing this strategy.